More than a dozen new products and technologies at an event in San Francisco yesterday.
This is the iPad Pro.
It's called Apple Pencil.
This is the new Apple TV. Introducing the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 6s Plus.
It's called 3D Touch. It's a program called the iPhone Upgrade Program.
Yeah, but the headline's not so kind. One headline this morning gaining some traction. Apple phone, tablet, and TV failed to impress investors. Was there anything to get excited about? I want to bring in Gene Munster, Managing Director at Piper Jaffray. Gene, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
What did you think of the Apple event?
I thought it was exactly what they needed to do, which was have a little something for everybody and give enough momentum to the iPhone business, which obviously is the critical part, for them to continue to gain share. So while it didn't have the big wow factor yesterday, from an investor standpoint, they should feel good about what this means for the iPhone numbers for the next year.
Everybody was saying that, going into this event, the stock was down, which is different than in past events. Stock is up going into it. And that perhaps it's incremental moves rather than big new innovations. How do you see Apple right now after this most recent sell-off that we saw?
It's really similar to the last 8 years around the iPhone. Last year, we had obviously the big form factors, but in general, it's been incremental updates. But those incremental updates, at least over the last year, have yielded small market share gains, which have had a big impact on their overall business. And so it's disappointing that there wasn't anything that really shocked people. But at the end of the day, I think investors will be rewarded because what they did does have substance to it.
All right, so, Gene, somebody's going to have to sell me on this because I sit here with my broken iPhone. It's been giving me all kinds of problems. Maybe it's a personal problem. But the innovation that we're talking about here is more new colors for the iPhone. I don't know if that's selling me on it, but then there's this 3D touch screen. What can you tell me about that? I guess it's got the ability to press and hold. It vibrates to acknowledge that you're doing this. Is this really going to be a big change for the iPhone? Is this going to be a selling point to keep people buying more iPhones?
It's a subtle improvement. If you look at the last few hardware updates, last S updates with Touch ID and Siri, that this probably is the third in terms of most important. What it is, the quick answer, what it is it's a different way to interface with your phone. Is you want to get more fast in terms of accessing things, this is going to make it easier to find those. So it is going to have an appeal. The other big part about yesterday was taking the 6 and 6 Plus and moving that down in price. That's a big deal for a lot of consumers, that $100. And so I think the combination of the 3D Touch plus the lower price, I think, is going to be material.
Gene, you do want to have, small incremental changes to freshen your product line and to kind of expand its appeal. And that's what you're talking about Apple doing yesterday. At some point, though, in a company's product cycle, it wants to have the big announcement. So how much longer can Apple do what it's doing, which is kind of freshen with 3D and with other kind of elements that keep the product in the public eye? How long can it do those increments before it needs the next big hit?
It's surprisingly long. It's probably about 5 years away before they really need to figure out the next big thing around the phone. And that's going to be augmented and virtual reality, which is a whole different topic. It's really where computing is going. Based on our work, as Apple's working on that, they're working on a lot of things. But that's probably the next big, shocking thing that Apple's going to be doing.
All right, so you're a buyer here then, Gene?
We are. We believe that market share gains are going to have meaningful impacts to the numbers, and now is a good opportunity to own Apple.
All right, Gene, good to talk with you as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Gene Munster's expert analysis there on Apple. Coming up.